Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Raeann, but you can call me Ray. So something's different. I don't know if you guys noticed it. I mean, I have pink hair now, so there's that, but I'm not used to seeing it on camera yet, and I'm like, what? Today's video is super exciting. We get to try a new indie brand. So I think they've been around for about a year. I kind of went through their Instagram to see like when they actually started to release products. So I believe they've been a brand for a little over a year. This is actually their very first palette, at least from what I see. I think this is the only palette that they've released. This brand is super exciting, and I'm just going to show you guys the packaging, and you're going to look at it and be like, that is beautiful. So I'm going to show you guys the box because I don't know why. We're just going to show you the box that the palette came in. But this is the Secrets of the FAE palette by Unicorn Gang Shop. There we go. I can words on occasion. So this is the box that the palette came in. Super pretty. Basically just mirrors what the actual palette looks like on the outside. Look at this artwork. Like, seriously, I would honestly hang this on my wall. Like, this is gorgeous. And then the inside of the palette, so there isn't a mirror on the back. I like having a mirror, but I mean, it's not something that I really need. On the inside of the palette, it says, though they may go unseen by most, their magic sparkles in nature. So that's really cute, and it's written right here. And then look at this palette. Like, look at how gorgeous this palette is. I kind of want to just take every single one of these shades and just smear them like all over my face right now, but you know, I will try my best to actually come out with a look that is a little more structured than that. But look at how pretty these shades are. Like, absolutely stunning. This one and this one right here, like, I mean, all of them are absolutely gorgeous, but this one especially, I need to use this one. I just need to. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the swatches. I desperately need to do my nails, by the way. Just bear with me. So I bought a gel kit and I used it a couple months ago, actually back in June for my birthday, and I actually was able to get them to turn out pretty well, but they weren't perfect, so I took them off. And now it's been a while, so I feel like I need to put the nails back on and see what I can do with them. But anyways, that was a diversion. Let's go ahead and get into these swatches. So this is coming out a tiny bit patchy. Let me see if I can get a better swatch out of this. Still a little patchy, but I feel like that's a good enough swatch for now. So the next shade is a super pretty mossy green color, which is actually called moss, so I'm observant. Super pretty. Have the shade Utopia. I love this color. Just reminds me of the 70s, and I love it so much. Ooh, that looks like a duochrome. Alright, so these are the swatches. This one definitely is a little patchy. This one came out a little patchy too, but I'm not really concerned about that. Sometimes mattes, especially the more blue and green tones, just swatch out that way. I feel like I say that a lot, but I do have a lot of like blues and greens and colorful palettes on here, so that's probably why. But this is a super pretty color story. Now that I'm looking at this, I do appreciate a good like highlight shade, but I feel like this shade specifically probably could have been replaced or like just changed a little bit, where it had kind of like a more of like a shift or something, where it had like an iridescence to it. I feel like it would have fit in with this a little bit more. I mean, it's a highlight shade, so it's going to fit in regardless, and it's always nice to have those, but I have a lot of those already. So if this one was just a little bit different, where it had like maybe a tiny bit of a pink hint to it, or purple, something that would match with this a little bit more. I would have definitely loved that, but I mean, having a highlight shade's always nice. So super pretty. I'm so excited to work with this. I believe I forgot to actually say how much this palette was. This palette does retail for $28. I don't believe I said that earlier. Oh, I always end up talking like after I do my swatches and forget that like you guys are just super close into my face and that maybe I should probably look at the camera. It retails for $28. And yeah, I'm super excited to be working with this today. I have been waiting to do it. I've been waiting to do a look with this palette for a while. I got it a couple days ago, and then I was gonna film with it and I just didn't have time. So I really wanted to make sure that I had enough time to like sit down and give you guys the review that you deserve instead of trying to rush it. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna start a look. I'm probably gonna use like every single one of these colors. But I'm gonna start a look off camera and then I will be back to show you guys what I came up with. So this is the look that we have so far. I'm curious to see if I can get a different result on the other side with the shimmers. I just feel like right now they're not as vibrant as I'd want. I did kind of overwhelm the look and I literally used every single color in the palette. It's funny because they actually posted on their Instagram like, oh, what shades would you choose for a look? And I said all of them. And I was serious, but I didn't think I was actually going to use all of them, especially for the first impression. Like, but yeah, we basically end up using every single one of the shades in the palette for this look. So let's go ahead and get into the look. I had to kind of embellish this with eyeliner, so I'm going to start with this darker blue shade. Okay, so I feel like that's pretty good for now. I don't like to spend too much time on it when I know I'm going to be like using concealer and everything, just because you can always go back in and kind of deepen it up if you need to, which most likely you will need to anyways. So we're gonna go into this shade here. So one thing I kind of did wrong on the other eye is I didn't use enough of this shade, and I might have just done it on this eye too. I think I just did too much of the blue, and that it would have looked a little bit better had I like started the green part a little bit earlier than I did. I still love this shade though. Like I love these like grungy green colors. Okay, so that's probably good. And then we're gonna go into this more purpley shade. So we'll use this shade right here. And this is where you'll try to kind of wing it out. Unless you don't want to do a wing. I know I've got like, this part is just so bright. I actually haven't washed my hair since I got my hair dyed. So yeah, there's that. It was literally like not even 2 days ago at this point, but, or it's been 2 days. But I am looking for, well, I think I know what like hair care products as far as shampoo and conditioner goes that I'm gonna use, but I'm looking into more like hair care as far as just making sure my hair is healthy, like a leave-in conditioner and everything. That's kind of a weird shape for this, but I feel like I can fix that in a little bit. Okay, so from here we're gonna go into this really pretty teal color, so this color right here. I keep wanting to pick up the palette and like look into it as if it has a mirror and it doesn't. Okay, so this is just gonna be our shade we're gonna blend everything out with. And if this looks kind of rough right now, that's totally fine. Sometimes you just gotta go back in and kind of clean everything up afterwards. This is kind of just a rough draft of what it's supposed to look like, and then once you're closer to being done, just kind of go back in and I like how I'm not even using the mirror on this, I'm just using the reflective part. Like, does anybody else do that? Because I find myself doing that a lot. I'll just find something that is reflective instead of actually being a mirror, and I just use that, and I'm like, wait, hold on, I could be using the mirror. It might make things a little bit easier. Okay, so from here, basically what I've done on the other eye is I did cut it out and I did like a full cut crease. I don't know if that's actually how I'm going to be doing it on this eye. I think what we might do is just glitter primer and just eyeshadow primer. I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to kind of work on that off camera, and then once I'm ready to start applying, we'll go from there. So I want to see if I can get these shimmers to pop a little bit more than what they're doing right now. So basically I'm kind of just going to take it in a shape where it's kind of more of like a wing, and I will be back. That awkward moment when I already started doing my eyeshadow when I was supposed to be doing it on camera and I wasn't. Oops. Okay, so basically I just wanted to make sure that using a different base was going to work a little bit better with the shimmers, and it turns out it did, and they look a lot better, or they applied a lot better on this side than they did on the other side, which is good. It's good news. The bad news is, of course, I started applying them off camera. So basically I just took this shade and then this shade here. So this shade is the inner portion to mid portion, and then blending it into this shade here. So yeah, my apologies, my bad. I would like to say I've never done that before, but I know I've done that before, and it's probably been like a few times. But luckily this part is a little more self-explanatory than the rest of it, so we're good. My bad. I went into that Utopia shade and I started applying it. I was like, wait a second. So let's go ahead. The next shade that I'm going to go into is the shade Moss. I actually go into Moss and then this shade here, New. I think it's New, yeah. And then also this shade here too. I'll let you know when I switch the shades, but I do use both, so yeah. So going into the shade Moss. And then Newt. You know what I totally just realized now? This look reminds me of an oil slick. And I kind of love that. I will say I'm not super happy with this look. I just feel like I made it a little too busy, but you know what? We're rolling with it. Especially since I've gone way too far to turn back now. So okay, so basically from there I just kind of go in and touch everything up a little bit more. I need to add more of that shade in like the inner corner and kind of just build everything up, and then also kind of go back into my crease. One thing I think we can do now before I go off camera is I can just show you what I'm going to do for the rest of the look basically. So I'm going to go into that more pinky, like purpley shade. I guess you can call it a fuchsia. So I'm going to go into this shade here. This will be the outer portion, so it'll go from here all the way under here. So I guess I can just start doing that now. And I am going to refine this off of the camera. So that's about halfway underneath my eye. And then I'm going to go back into that siren shade, so that tealy kind of color. It's like a tealy slash like seafoam green. Wow. I can't decide what color it actually is. I guess it's more of a seafoam color. It definitely picks up more seafoam on camera, but it is a little bit darker than that. And then that's just going to go from middle all the way to the inner corner. Yeah, I wasn't fully like gonna use all of these colors, but here we are. Okay, and then of course gonna use that light weaver shade. So our highlight shade, That will go right in the inner corner. So just pop that in there. Okay, so this is basically the finished look. I do go in with the eyeliner that I use, which is Ice Pop from Glam Vice. So it's this one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of create a more winged shape to outline everything. Then I'll probably use this for my inner corner. I haven't completely decided yet, or maybe I'll go in with the pink. Haven't gotten that far yet. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and finish up the look, kind of touch up my face. I did get a decent amount of fallout. Not a lot. Like, I can easily just dust it off, I'm sure, but especially with, you know what, I'm not sure what shade that came from, if it was this purple shade, but I do have a bit of fallout, so I'm gonna dust that off, kind of just freshen up my makeup a little bit and, you know, just refine this, and then I'll show you guys the finished look. Then we'll go ahead and talk about the palette. Okay, so this is the finished look. Overall, I'm just gonna say I'm not really that happy with how I did this look. Like, I'm just not impressed by like what I did. I'm also super shaky today. Like, you know, when you just drink too much coffee, aka me every day. So the liner was way harder than it should have been. So I'm not really like super happy with the color placements that I did personally. So we're just gonna throw that out there. I mean, with that out of the way, let's talk about how the palette performed. I feel like the palette was really easy to work with. The mattes were pretty easy to work with. I love that green shade. Actually, both of the green shades. So this one and this one, I just love these shades so much. I love the color story of this palette. I just find it super pretty. It's honestly like it's gorgeous. As far as the quality goes, I feel like the mattes were pretty easy to work with. The shimmers, on the other hand, I do think that they're pretty and I definitely can work with them, but I feel like they might be one of those formulas where maybe applying them wet might be a little more beneficial. I used a different base on this eye than this eye, and I feel like this eye was definitely easier to get the shimmers to build up. They don't pop as much as I would like them to, so I'm thinking maybe next time using a wet brush might actually work a little bit better. They still are pretty, but I like my shimmers to be like in your face, crazy, like vibrant. I'm trying to see. So I'm not sure if maybe applying them wet might be a little bit better or what. I mean, I feel like on my left eye, I definitely was able to work with them a little bit easier than the right eye. So I'm interested to see how they'll apply in future looks, see if there's anything else I can do with them. They are pretty shades. I just want to see what I can do to make them pop a little bit more. So overall, I'm liking the palette. I definitely want to keep working with it. I feel like it's just such a fun color story that I just want to play with this palette more and more and more. I'm not sure if I'll do more looks with this palette on my channel. I was thinking about doing that, but I also have a few other palettes that I'd really like to do 3 looks 1 palettes with, so I might possibly do that with this palette. It just probably would be a few weeks from now. It might not be super soon, but I am excited to keep using the palette and kind of see what else I can do with it, because I really do enjoy the color story. I honestly think it's gorgeous. The artwork on the palette is gorgeous. Just overall, I'm excited for this brand and what they have lined up, and if they're coming out with any other palettes, I just can't wait to see what color stories they choose. So far, I like the palette, but I just need to see what I can do as far as I just need to see like how everything's gonna work once I play with it more, if I'm gonna be able to get a little bit more out of the shimmers. They definitely still are pretty. I just wanted a little bit more out of them than what I could get. I do feel like the way that I did this look is just a little too much. So I'm interested to see how everything performs when I'm not literally packing every single color on my lid. Don't really know why I did that. I mean, I'm not surprised that I did it, but you know, I wish you guys could see my dog right now. She always ends up in here the last couple videos, and she's on the floor rolling around on her back. So if you hear anything weird, it's my dog. Anyways, she does that thing where she like rolling around on her back, and it's super cute. And so far I'm really excited for this brand. I keep just looking at this palette and just looking at how beautiful this color story is. The artwork on here is absolutely gorgeous. I kept feeling like I wanted a mirror in here, so I kind of wish there was a mirror. I mean, it's not a deal breaker by any means, but I think just because almost all of the palettes that I've used recently all have mirrors in them, that I'm kind of used to just using the mirror in the palette now, where before that wasn't really a concern of mine. But I don't know how many times I picked this up and I was like trying to look at myself, but I couldn't. I mean, again, not that big of a deal, but it's just something that I observed that I was doing a lot. So yeah, I'm really interested to see what else I can do with this palette. It's just such a gorgeous color story. I'm excited to see what else they come out with as a brand. I'm excited to keep using this palette. I'll let you guys know if my feelings kind of change, because right now I definitely do like this palette, but I'm wondering if I'm going to like it more once I keep using it, or what's gonna go on with that, because this color story, like I said a million times already, is absolutely gorgeous. So I want to keep playing with this palette. I'm just interested to see how I'm gonna like it once I do more looks with it. Obviously this is a first impression, so sometimes it is hard to completely say one thing about a palette. The shimmers are just like I said, I just kind of want a little bit more out of them, so I'm excited to play with it and see what else I can do. I definitely feel like this look is definitely pretty. Yeah, I'm excited to keep using the palette. I'm excited to keep working with it. I want to see how the shimmers apply wet, because I just want to make them pop a little bit more than they did. But other than that, so far I'm liking the palette. I'm excited to keep using it. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'll see you next time.